Jenny Horne, host of Next Gen Investing, is joining me right now, and analysts continue to raise their price targets on Oracle, which had an incredible, it was up 40%. Let's hear what the analysts are saying too. Jenny, good morning.
Good morning. And yeah, I mean, the analysts are acting favorably. I think no surprise after such a significant name made such a significant move. I mean, and we were looking at Oracle yesterday on the show pre-market and saying how, hey, it was up 30+%. I would have never thought we would close even holding on to those levels just because it's so unprecedented for a name as big as Oracle has become to see such a substantial move to the upside. But hey, the rally is not necessarily over yet as we're up now another percent and some change this morning. Price hikes today from Morgan Stanley, raising its target to 275 from 210 with a neutral rating. So this is post the earnings report. The firm is encouraged, though, by their underlying organic recurring revenue growth trends, and they do believe the company's cloud shift continues to progress, but with a more muted stance, obviously based on that $275 price target. And then we got roughly a 347 from 281 raise from Barclays. That also was with an overweight rating, so that would imply actually upside from where we currently are set to open here. And Bernstein also with a raise to 365, one of the more bullish of the group. That was from 308 with an outperform rating, again following the first quarter report. But all that to be said, I think one of the most impressive is if you looked at some of their metrics from yesterday, as we did pretty heavily discuss, you would say, okay, so they missed as far as top and bottom line expectations, but everything that is coming and all the growth they guided for was so beyond what had been previously expected by the company, and also signaling, I mean, some significant contracts throughout the quarter. OpenAI was one. Not a lot of details on that, but definitely a company that has been busy. And I think even the most amazing of all, Larry Ellison adding $101 billion to his net worth yesterday as a result of the huge move, then upstirring Elon Musk as the world's richest man. Previously, we had not seen any single person make that much of a wealth gain. I think the previous was around Elon Musk adding around $60 billion. So this was the most significant wealth add of any person across the board on record, and by a lot. $100 billion he added just yesterday.
Yeah, everybody was talking about that, and that he was taking on Elon Musk as the richest man now. I think your point about how quickly that was acquired certainly is a good point. Also, the fact that they're about $1 billion apart. Just $1 billion apart. Of course, you're going to hear some clapping here on the floor, folks, as many servicemen and women come in, dignitaries, on September 11th. So right now, we're going to see some folks coming in behind me. Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, will be here. He was the head of Cantor Fitzgerald, lost his employees. He had a terrible, devastating time during September 11th. But we'll have servicemen and women and many others. So we'll have a moment of silence as well. We'll continue our coverage here. I know, Jenny, you have Nvidia next, but I did want to acknowledge servicemen and women who may be coming in, first responders, and everything that we will never forget. Jenny?
Yeah, I'm clapping from afar, Nicole. I heard the applause, and I was like, I'm sure this was in remembrance of 9/11. So clapping from here in Chicago as well. But as far as then looking at, I mean, Nvidia here today, also with an upgrade. Nvidia was upgraded to buy from neutral. Price target was raised to $210 a share from $195. And DA Davidson did cite this belief that the growth in AI compute demand will drive enough demand to sustain growth into next year, and in their opinion, likely beyond. So they are increasingly optimistic right now of the growth in AI compute demand as this supersedes their concerns about cross currents as they highlighted in the past, including this increased competition from customers through these various ASICs, especially in Google's TPUs, and increased competition and volatility in demand for China. So I think that Nvidia is also a huge part of this story. Obviously, we saw a lot of these names make pretty nice moves yesterday. Nvidia was one of them in reaction to Oracle. But Nvidia has right now its own story of growth. And I know there's been various speculation about how the growth goes going forward, because we saw a really strong report out of Nvidia as well. I mean, Broadcom is also another name that reported as of late that has done extremely well. But all that to be said, though, you've OpenAI, Sam Altman, giving some degree of bubble and maybe oversold concerns regarding this entire space, or overbought, I guess I should say. But as far as all that speculation on Nvidia and where it goes going forward, I think that nothing from all these companies collectively would tell you that we have any demand problem. Yes, China is going to be a near-term problem, absolutely. But if you look at like some of these partnerships we're seeing, and more of these companies joining forces, teaming up and continue to build in various ways for AI, I would say the growth story, if you actually pay attention to what these companies are saying in commentary from Jensen Huang, as well as Broadcom, Marvell, Oracle, all this would paint a really strong picture. It's just a matter of course, guessing where things start to normalize. And that's been, I think, the case for some time with Nvidia. It's very difficult to gauge how this stock trades, but I do know if you believe in the market rallying, which so far, knock on wood, in the month of September has been pretty strong, all things considered, you have to believe in the participation of Nvidia, because they are still the largest name in the world and one of the most influential right now in all of AI.
And there's really a feeling that AI will sustain Nvidia's growth going forward. There doesn't seem to be any question about that at all when it comes to the market chatter. And the China story always remains the wild card, but that's not going to be the only catalyst at all. And we've seen tech take off. The composite has hit a new high, Nasdaq Composite, the S&P 500 has been at a new high. As analysts are upgrading Nvidia, I saw at least one at 210 today. I think you may have mentioned it, but from 195, obviously the belief is there.
Absolutely. And I think that this is a name you don't want to be one taking on a contrarian take just for the sake of wanting to be different or wanting to make the call. And I know that that's the nature of the game that we all are in, where you want to be the one that makes that first call to like, hey, perhaps, get rid of your Nvidia shares. I see this near-term major headwind coming. But I think that anyone that has had that conviction and that rooting against Nvidia mindset for the last, several years at this point has been wrong. There's a reason that we do tend to pay so much attention to these tech bulls like, Dan Ives, for example, because they have been so correct for the better part of the last 3 years. And definitely in the majority camp as far as like the Nvidia coverage, for example. You have right now 59 of the 66 analysts skewing into the bullish camp, whether buy or buy equivalent. You have then 6 holds, so modestly small, and 1 loan underperform. So all that to be said, the average price target right now of Nvidia, based on the analyst averages, is around $212 a share. So that does imply about 20% upside from where we closed yesterday. Street high is still roughly around $389 a share and 73 cents. The low is 100, which again, taking on that conviction is to me such a risk, because you have been wrong for such consistently better part of the last 3 years. But you also have to say, I do watch Nvidia's forward PE. I know its valuation is lofty, and that's a concern. Trades at roughly 31 times. That's actually come down from levels it was once at earlier this year. So all that to be said, it's also ex-dividend today. Did want to note that. But Nvidia is still a huge reason we've been able to see such a consistently reliable and resilient market. And the street definitely hasn't really changed their conviction overall. I do believe it's still like 92% overall of analysts have a buy or buy equivalent rating on this stock.
Yeah. Jenny Horne, great to see you. Great coverage on key names there, including Oracle and Nvidia. Thank you, Jenny.